The office was always quiet after hours, the kind of quiet that made the hum of the fluorescent lights sound almost like a song. That's when Mary arrived. She was a small black woman in her late 50s, with tired hands and kind eyes that had seen too much of life's struggle. Every evening, she came in with her mop bucket and gloves, wearing the same faded uniform, and walked those marble floors like she was invisible. And in many ways, she was. The employees, sharp suits, high heels, and expensive watches, barely noticed her. If they did, it was often with smirks. Some would wrinkle their noses as if her presence somehow lowered the worth of their shiny office. Others would laugh behind her back, whispering things they thought she couldn't hear. Imagine working your whole life just to clean up after people like us. She probably never even finished school. She's just the cleaning lady. But Mary never answered. She never threw back their cruelty. Instead, as she wiped down their desks and emptied their trash bins, she softly hummed gospel hymns under her breath, songs her grandmother once sang in a little wooden church down south. The sound was so gentle that it barely carried, but to Mary, it was her shield, her prayer, her way of remembering that dignity doesn't come from what the world says about you, it comes from within. Some nights, the laughter stung more than others. She would pause with her rag in hand, swallow the lump in her throat, and remind herself of her children, grown now, chasing their dreams because she had worked jobs like this. She had scrubbed, she had bent, she had endured so they wouldn't have to. And so, even when the mocking voices echoed in the hallways, Mary kept her head steady and her heart soft. She wasn't blind to their cruelty, but she refused to let it define her. She believed, deep down, that life had a way of revealing people's true worth. They thought she was nothing more than the woman who pushed a mop. But Mary knew something they didn't: the people who laugh at others' pain are often the ones who need the deepest cleaning of all. And she, quietly, patiently, was waiting for the day they would see it. One rainy night, as Mary was scrubbing coffee stains off the break room counter, she heard a sound that made her pause, soft, muffled crying. She turned, and in the corner by the vending machine sat a young intern, no older than 22. His head was buried in his hands, shoulders shaking as if the weight of the whole world had fallen on him. Mary set her rag down and walked over slowly. "Baby, are you all right?" she asked gently. The boy startled, embarrassed, wiping his face quickly. I'm fine," he stammered, though the truth was written all over him. Mary sat down across from him, folding her hands in her lap. "Now, I've raised 3 children," she said softly. "I know the difference between fine and broken." The intern hesitated before the words spilled out. His name was Daniel. He'd just moved to the city chasing a dream, but the rent was higher than he expected, the CEO treated him like dirt, and tonight he had realized he didn't even have enough money for groceries. "I thought if I worked hard, if I just kept my head down, it would get better," he whispered. "But it feels like I'm drowning." Mary listened, nodding, her heart aching for him. She reached into her pocket, pulled out her worn wallet, and slid a folded $20 bill across the table. Daniel shook his head quickly. "No, I can't take that from you. You work harder than anyone here. You probably need it more than me." Mary smiled, her eyes warm but firm. "Baby, kindness doesn't ask who needs it more. It just gives. And I know what it feels like to be hungry. So please, let an old woman do something good tonight." Slowly, with tears brimming in his eyes, Daniel accepted the bill. For the first time in weeks, he smiled, just a little, but enough for Mary to see hope flicker back to life. That night, as Mary returned to her mopping, she hummed her hymns with a lighter heart. She knew the world could be cruel, but she also knew that even the smallest act of kindness could plant a seed. Daniel thought Mary was just a cleaning lady who lent him $20. But in truth, she had given him something far greater, the reminder that he mattered. The next morning, the office buzzed with its usual cold efficiency. Phones rang, keyboards clattered, and the CEO's sharp voice cut through the halls like a whip. Mr. Harrington was his name, a man with a polished suit, $1 million smile, and a heart that seemed made of stone. To him, employees weren't people, they were numbers. If a number didn't perform, he erased it. He stormed into the boardroom, barking at his executives. We need to cut costs. Fire the interns, slash salaries. If they can't keep up, they don't belong here. His words were laced with arrogance, completely unaware, or perhaps uncaring, that his decisions ruined lives. But then something unusual happened. The door to the boardroom opened, and in walked Mary. The executives blinked in surprise. A janitor? In their meeting? One of them chuckled under his breath. Another whispered, she must be lost. But Mary didn't flinch. She carried a simple folder in her hands, the kind that held more weight than anyone realized. She placed it on the glossy mahogany table, then straightened her back. Mr. Harrington, she said quietly, her voice steady but firm. It's time we talk. The CEO scoffed. Excuse me? Who let the cleaning lady in here? Mary's eyes softened, but her words struck like thunder. I am not just the cleaning lady. My name is Mary Whitfield. I am the sister of the majority shareholder of this company. And for the past 6 months, I have been here, watching. Listening. Learning how this company truly treats its people. The room fell silent. Every smirk vanished. Even Mr. Harrington's face drained of color. Mary opened the folder. Inside were notes, testimonies, even recordings, evidence of cruelty, greed, and neglect under Harrington's leadership. She looked around the table, her gaze steady. I came here in disguise because titles don't show character. I wanted to see the truth. The way you treat those you think are beneath you. And what I found was ugliness. Not in the walls of this building, but in the hearts of those running it. The board members shifted uncomfortably. Whispers broke out. And then Mary closed the folder with a soft thud, her decision already made. The boardroom sat in stunned silence. You could almost hear the air thicken as Mary stood there, the invisible cleaning lady now commanding the room with a presence no one could ignore. Mr. Harrington tried to laugh it off, though his voice cracked. This is ridiculous. You're just. Mary raised her hand, gently but firmly, and the room went still. Don't call me just anything. For months, you laughed at me, mocked me, treated me as if I were invisible. But it's in those quiet shadows where the truth reveals itself. And the truth is, you have failed as a leader. Her voice, once soft, grew stronger with every word. Leadership is not about power. It's not about how much money you make or how many people you can intimidate. It's about how you treat those who can do nothing for you. And you, Mr. Harrington, have treated people like they are disposable. Gasps echoed around the table. Some board members nodded subtly, others dropped their gaze, ashamed. Mary stepped closer, her eyes locked on his. I have scrubbed your floors. I have emptied your trash. And in the process, I saw how you discarded not just paper and plastic, but people's hopes, people's dignity. That ends today. The CEO slammed his fist on the table. You can't do this. This company needs me. Mary's calm smile cut through his fury. No, Mr. Harrington. What this company needs, is humanity. She opened the folder once more, sliding documents across the table, proof of his misconduct, his callous decisions, his disregard for the very employees who built the company's success. The board members scanned the papers, whispers rising, faces hardening. And then Mary delivered the words that shifted everything. With steady breath, she declared. Mr. Harrington, you're fired. For the first time in his career, the man who fired hundreds without blinking now stood speechless, powerless. His mouth opened, but no words came. His empire of arrogance had crumbled in the span of a sentence. Mary turned to the others. From this moment on, things will be different. This company will not just chase profits, it will honor people. The room erupted, not with laughter, not with cruelty, but with the sound of relief, of hope, of something new being born. And in that moment, the cleaning lady who had been invisible, became unforgettable. Months passed, and the office was no longer the same place. Where there had once been fear and cold stares, there was now warmth, laughter, and a sense of belonging. The walls hadn't changed, but the hearts inside them had. At the center of it all was Mary. She didn't sit in the CEO's chair, nor did she need a fancy title. Instead, she worked alongside the new leadership team, guiding them, reminding them of the one truth that had carried her through life: success without compassion isn't success at all. Policies shifted. Employees were given fair wages, interns received mentorship, and voices once silenced were finally heard. People no longer rushed past the janitors or secretaries without so much as a glance. Instead, they greeted one another with respect, knowing that every role mattered. And Daniel, the intern who once sat in the break room with empty pockets and a heavy heart, was thriving. With Mary's encouragement, he not only kept his position but grew into a mentor himself, helping new interns find their footing. Often, he would say, "If Mary believed in me, I can believe in myself." One Friday afternoon, as the office prepared for the weekend, a group of employees gathered around Mary in the lobby. They weren't laughing at her anymore. They were laughing with her, sharing stories, thanking her, celebrating her. One young woman asked, "Mary, when you first came here, did you ever think it would end like this?" Mary smiled, her eyes crinkling with the kind of joy that comes from a life well lived. "Child," she said softly, "I didn't come here for an ending. I came here for a beginning. Sometimes, the world needs a little cleaning, not on the floors, but in the way we treat each other." The lobby grew quiet, the truth of her words settling deep in every heart. That evening, as Mary walked out of the office, the sun was setting behind the tall glass windows, painting the sky gold. She wasn't the invisible cleaning lady anymore. She was the woman who had changed an entire company, not with power, not with money, but with kindness, courage, and the belief that humanity always matters most. And as she stepped into the night, one thought echoed in the hearts of everyone she left behind. She came to clean the floors, but ended up cleaning our souls.